So that was a really cool day. Funding. So the entrepreneur's biggest challenge, I think. I have chosen to do sort of this method, which is I put in a little bit of money to buy stock and create a product, and then I go out and sell it, and I make sure, this is really important, that I sell my product for more than it takes to run my business, which includes buying new stock, but also then say running the website, the rent for a stall. I rent a virtual office because I need to put an address on my labels, as I'm a food and drink business and I don't want to put my personal address. So you know, that's what I do. So I have spreadsheets, and I just put everything in, I calculate it, work out what a profit margin, suitable profit margin needs to be, and then say, right, that's how much I'm going to sell that product for. There's a lot of thought you have to put into that beforehand. Some people want the funding straight away and then work and build their way up to that. Sometimes the business you want to run requires that, there's no choice. But for me, I wasn't prepared to take on that risk. I didn't want to be thousands of pounds in debt and then be just panicking constantly, like, am I going to make this work? Some people need that pressure. I don't personally, so that's kind of how I fund it. But there are ways of going out there, so you can there's little events and things, pitching competitions and things you can take part in. It might not necessarily be a monetary reward that you get, but sometimes you get like free help with your branding, or maybe professional business headshots and things like that. So you just have to go out there and look all the time. Things like Prince's Trust, I was too old to take part in Prince's Trust when I started my business, but I know a few people that started when they were young enough, and they've been able to get some small like interest-free loans to help kickstart their businesses. So there are loads of ways, you just sometimes have to be a bit inventive with how you think. Some challenges. So, oh boy, there can be a lot of challenges when running a business. Probably the biggest challenge has been this year and the COVID-19 pandemic. I set out, as I mentioned earlier, I set out in January and I had these plans. So I was thinking of, I was going to go to markets and sell in person. There are big like expos and conferences that I was going to go to. So the London Book Fair, I was going to go with my recipe book and try and find a literary agent or a publisher to see if they were willing to publish my book. That got cancelled. Food and drink expos have been cancelled, so I can't go around with my packaging and my baking kits and show people and meet people. I was going to start running classes, supper clubs, things like that, and it all got cancelled. And then even during lockdown, with everybody going mad in the shops, flour ran out, so I couldn't even put my baking kits together to sell because there was no flour anywhere. So yeah, I had to shut my business down for a while, and then I've started to sort of reopen with things opening again. But again, I'm filming this just as the government is probably going to announce more lockdowns. So yeah, who knows at the moment. Some other challenges I think are just like personal ones. So after being made redundant and things, I lost a lot of my confidence, and so I knew that if I wanted SciRecipes to work, I would have to build on that confidence. So entering Fame Lab, as I mentioned earlier, was actually, I didn't really do it to win the competition. I did it because I wanted to practice communicating in front of people, and I was scared of pitching my business because at that point I didn't really know what my business was even called or where it was going to go. So it was just a lot of me standing up on stage going and I don't really know yet, which just doesn't really project confidence. The one thing I could do was talk about rocks till the end of time. So I was able to stand up on stage and find really cool ways of communicating my passion and what I love, which is geology and earth sciences. So those are some of the challenges, and you just have to take your time and work out ways to overcome them. And sometimes they're just too big and you need to ask for help. So you can I belong to a couple of sort of networking groups and things, and you can just sort of post online and be like, hey, I'm stuck, can somebody help? And usually there's somebody who knows the answer and can help point you in the right direction. So yeah, there's some of the challenges. Don't let that put you down though. It is a lot of fun as well. So yeah, if you're doing something that you love and that you're passionate about, the challenges actually don't really seem that big at the end of the day. So there you go. I don't want to leave it on the negative, but there we go. Okay, and finally, plans for the future. So my plans change on a daily basis at the moment, depending on what the new rules are for the pandemic. Sometimes I can go sell in person, sometimes I just have to try and sell via e-commerce, so via my website, via Facebook and things like that. Try and maybe do a bit more, doing more videos and things. Last week I did an online Zoom baking class for a local group of scouts, which was a lot of fun, but it is a bit weird not being in the same room as the people that you're teaching with. So it's quite a steep learning curve, changing all of that around. Something I want to do in the future is try and get a book publisher to actually produce a really nice copy of my recipe book, like hardback, try and get it on the shelves like Waterstones and things. Maybe try and do a bit more YouTube videos where I combine going outdoor and exploring the geology as well as baking, because a lot of my recipes are encourage people to try and go outside and explore and actually see the rocks for themselves. And then something else that I'm starting to look at, but will probably be happening maybe in 2 years' time, is trying to get venture capitalist or angel investment and try and grow my business. So I'm trying to get SciRecipes to the point where I can prove that the idea works and that people are willing to buy it, get my branding sorted. So my branding didn't happen overnight. It's been a long journey. I've had to change my name. Bake with Jake logo came first, and then Einstein came about 6 months later. So it's been 3 years of trying and testing. And I just want a couple more years just to get the idea really cemented and go out there, try and make my accounts look amazing, so then I can go to investors and then say, look, I've built this business from scratch, I've created all of this stuff, people are responding to it, people are buying it, and I am making X amount of net profit per year. And hopefully they can see my growth has gone like this on a graph and want to invest, and then we can grow the business. If I can see my baking kits on the supermarket shelves, like that would be awesome as well. So there we go. But I have these plans, but you never know what wrenches can be thrown in the cogs occasionally. So you have to always be ready to adapt as well. So anyway, I just wanted to finish off by saying thank you very much for listening. I hope you're all well, and if you've got any questions, or I'm perfectly happy to answer any questions, whether that be running a business or anything to do with baking or anything to do with geology and earth sciences. I'll happily answer questions. Anyway, all the best, and hopefully see you soon. Bye bye.